What's up guys, it's Kelly and today I've got an exciting swatch review for you. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss out on new videos, and let's get started. So today I am sharing with you guys swatches of the newest line from OPI, which is called Nature Strong. So this isn't a collection, it's a different line of polish, similar to how OPI has their regular lacquer and then they have their infinite shine line. This is just another one of those different types of nail polish. So the whole thing about the OPI Nature Strong is that it's natural origin, long wearing, vegan nail polish. So we've got 30 nail polish colors. I'm going to be swatching all of them today. I think this is my biggest swatch and review of one brand that I've ever done before. This formula and this product is a little bit different from OPI's regular line of lacquer. These polishes are 9 free, meaning they're free of 9 of the dangerous chemicals that are often found in nail polish. I believe their regular line is 3 free, so it's a big jump from that. They're also vegan, they have no animal-derived ingredients in the polishes, and they're non-GMO, so they're made with plant and mineral-based ingredients. The polishes are supposed to last up to 7 days, so I was really excited when I heard about these. They're definitely making an effort to be a little bit more environmentally friendly, a little bit more sustainable. The actual bottle and cap are made of 20% post-consumer recycled materials, so it's definitely a cool jump. I've talked about it recently with Picture Polish and their new plant-based sustainable formula, but I'm loving this direction that we are seeing from nail polish brands to shift into this more sustainable product. But yeah, like I said, we've got 30 polishes to go over. I've already made this intro a little bit long, so let's just go ahead and roll the swatch footage. So I'm using my Cuccio base coat to protect my natural nail and prevent any stains. I hope you guys have some snacks because this is going to be a very long review. So we'll start off with this first shade, which is called A Clay in the Life, and as you can see, it is a super soft, almost peachy undertoned beige nude cream shade, and this was the first one that I tried from the line. I was a little worried that it was going to be a 3-coater and that would kind of color my feelings on how the whole line was, but it ended up actually giving me 2-coat coverage, which is pretty much what I expect from OPI nudes. They're generally very creamy and opaque, and this one was no exception. It was super smooth and self-leveling, and it just looked beautiful on the nails. A nice yellowy, peachy undertone going on here. Next up we have the shade Let Nature Take Its Course, and this one is a super soft baby pink cream shade. Again, it has a little bit of that peachy warm undertone going on here. This one was another one that did give me full coverage in 2 coats. You can see it's very self-leveling, so even though I'm going over previous brush strokes, it kind of smooths out, so there's no patchiness even before it reaches full opacity, which I think is one of the reasons why I love OPI so much. But yeah, this one gave me full coverage in 2 coats. It was just barely opaque, so if you do have longer nails, you'll probably need a 3rd for this one, but again, just really nice opacity for being such a light color. Moving on to We Canyon Do Better, and this one is another peachy pink shade. This one definitely leans a little bit more to that peachy neutral kind of color, and again, really smooth, really self-leveling. You're gonna hear me saying that a lot in this video, and just so you know, it's not all neutral shades like this. We kind of have a really nice range of colors going on, but I'm kind of doing it in sort of a rainbow order, not really a rainbow, but you'll see that the colors are very varied as we go. But yeah, this one was another one, fully opaque in 2 coats, looks absolutely gorgeous on the nails. Next up we have For What It's Earth, and this one is a very dusty blush nude kind of color. It's a little bit deeper, it's got a very reddish undertone to it. I absolutely love that dustiness, and as you can see, this one was fully opaque in the first coat for me. I did throw on a 2nd coat just to show you guys what that looked like, but it's just that classic OPI formula to me. It felt very smooth, it felt very creamy, and it just gave me really nice coverage. I think OPI really excels at the reds and pinks, so you'll see this next section of reds and pinks is very opaque, very smooth, and very creamy. Next up we have the shade Big Bloom Energy, and this one is the juicy watermelon color of my dreams. It's this really gorgeous pinky salmon color. As you can see, it was super opaque. Pretty much that first coat covered up everything, but I did need that 2nd coat just to make it even more opaque and brighter. It's such a stunning color. I feel like this is like my go-to pedicure kind of color, but it's really just so bright and classic and summery. I absolutely love it. Next up we have the shade Once and Floral. Well, Once and Floral, but I'm pretty sure that's the joke they're trying to make here. We got a lot of good earth puns going on. But yeah, this one is a really beautiful, very orangey toned red cream shade. Normally I expect shades like this to have a crelly or even jelly-like formula, but this one was a full cream. It was super opaque in that first coat. The second coat just added to the brightness. Really gorgeous. Another very classic color and another shade that OPI definitely excels at, so I wouldn't expect anything less from them. Next up we have Intentions are Rose Gold. This one is, as the name would suggest, a very coppery rose gold metallic foil shade. It also has these little specks of metallic silver in there that catch the light so beautifully. This one gave me 100% full opacity in the first coat. It's really gorgeous. I think this is going to be great for stamping, for any type of nail art, but it's also just really beautiful on its own. Next up we have the shade Give a Garnet, and this one is a slightly deeper, almost brick red cream shade, and as you can see, this is another one that is a full cream polish. It looked a little bit thick on application, but it actually did self-level, so it was really smooth and creamy, and it did give me full opacity in that first coat. Really gorgeous shade, another classic one. Like I said, OPI just really excels at doing these red type of polishes. I especially love that these are mostly creams because like I said, am used to seeing jellies from them in reds. But if you are a red jelly lover, then you might enjoy our next polish, which is A Bloom with a View, and this is another deep red shade. This one has a little bit of a cooler undertone to it, and as you can see, even though it is fully opaque in that first coat, it has a little bit of that jelly-like consistency, so it's super squishy and shiny, and as you can see, that red color actually deepens with the more coats that I'm doing. But like I said, it was fully opaque in that first coat. It covered up my visible nail line entirely. I just did that second coat so you can see the full depth of the color here. Next up we have the shade Raisin Your Voice, and this one was actually probably one of my favorites in the whole line of polishes. It's this really deep red, almost metallic shimmer. It's got this very vibrant bright red shimmer running throughout, and then it also has these little silver flecks running throughout. Again, this was fully opaque in the first coat. I did a second coat just to show you guys what that looks like. It was very slightly streaky, but I don't think it's very noticeable unless you're doing an extreme close-up of your nails like I am here. Those little flecks catch the light so beautifully. I honestly think that my swatch did not do this one justice. It's really beautiful. I feel like this is the perfect holiday color. Next up we have the shade Knowledge is Flower, and this one is a slightly dusty rosy pink cream shade. This was another one that really impressed me. It's a pretty basic color, but it was actually full coverage in that first coat, which I feel like is pretty impressive for a medium to light pink. I did end up doing a second coat just to show you guys what that looked like, but that first coat just really blew me away. This is another shade that I can definitely see myself using for nail art or even stamping, and I absolutely adore it. It's another classic pink shade. Next up we have the shade Enflowered, and this one is the cool toned sister to Knowledge is Power. It's definitely leaning a little bit more of that neon blue undertone kind of pink shade. It's almost that like Pepto-Bismol color, but it's a little bit more saturated. It's a little bit more blue toned. It was kind of sheer in the first coat, but it did give me full coverage in two, and it's just another shade that looks really beautiful on the nails. I think it's a universally flattering color. Honestly, I think all of these are though. Next up we have the shade Simply Radishing. Honestly, some of these puns have really cracked me up, but this one is a very beautiful, dusty, almost mauve kind of shade. It's got that cream finish. It's fully opaque in the first coat. It dries a little bit warmer toned than it looks when I am applying it and in the bottle, but I still think it's a really beautiful shade. Again, as per usual, very self-leveling, very creamy, very easy to work with. Next up we have the shade Ecomaniac, and this one is a beautiful, deep eggplant purple shade. It has that very reddish undertone to it. It's fully opaque in the first coat. The one thing I really loved about this color is even though it's very deep and an almost vampy shade, it doesn't look black on the nails. You can still definitely see that purple shining through, and it's just a really beautiful color. I love shades like this, especially in the fall. I'm definitely going to be wearing this one a lot, and again, very smooth, very self-leveling. Next up we have the shade Thistle Make You Bloom, and this one is a warm toned orchid base color that has a very cool toned fuchsia shimmer running throughout. And this is something that I absolutely love from OPI when they do a very contrasting shimmer, either like a warm base with a cool shimmer or a cool base with a warm shimmer. It's just something I absolutely love to see from them. So I was really excited about this shade and it did not disappoint. It does have a slightly streaky finish, but if you're careful on that second coat, it's going to look really beautiful. I absolutely adore this color. Next up, we have the shade Achieve Grapeness, and this one is a little bit of an opposite here. So it's a very cool dusty base that has a slightly warm shimmer running throughout. It's sort of this golden pinky shimmer in the middle there, and again, it does have that slight streakiness to it, but I like to do my first coat just sloppily applying the polish however I want, and then the second coat I will go in with careful brush strokes just to make sure that everything looks nice and even on the nails. Another really gorgeous shade. I absolutely adore it. Next up, we have the shade A Great Fig World, and I absolutely adore colors like this. I love that very cool toned, almost blue purple. It feels like sort of a royal color to me, and this one was so opaque. It gave me one coat full coverage. Honestly, I would just wear this one as a one coater. I would say the majority of these that gave me the full coverage in that first coat, I would just wear in one coat, throw on a base coat, throw on a top coat, call it a day. But yeah, another really beautiful shade, super creamy, super self-leveling, and I just love how bright and bold this color is. Next up, we have the shade Spring into Action, and I'm not gonna lie, I was a little nervous about this one. It's a super light, cool toned lavender cream shade, and in the first coat it was a little bit sheer. I was worried it was going to be a 3-coater, but it did end up giving me that perfect coverage in 2 coats. You guys know I love purple nail polishes, so obviously I was going to love this one, even though it does have spring in the name, and I'm not a huge fan of spring polishes. I do think that this one is nice and vivid. It doesn't feel too pastel-y or soft. Next up, we have the shade Force of Nature, and this one is a deep slate blue, almost gray cream shade. And as you can see, this was another one that was a 1-coat full coverage shade. Again, just a really amazing formula going on here. I absolutely love OPI and their 1-coaters. I know not everybody has nails that are as short as mine, but just the amount of coverage that these give in 1 coat just makes them so perfect for nail art, but also really perfect when you're kind of in a rush and you don't have time to do multiple layers on your nails. I always think of my OPI 1-coaters for those types of moments when I need a manicure and I don't have time. Next up, we have the shade Sure Is Something, and this one is a really beautiful, bright primary blue cream shade, and this is another type of color that I see a lot from OPI and I really enjoy, but this one in particular I felt was an even better formula than I have seen from these OPI primary blues in the past. It was almost a 1-coater. I did need that second coat to get full coverage, but I feel like it was just a very smooth and easy formula, and there wasn't any patchiness. It just looks really gorgeous on the nails. Next up, we have the shade All Heal Queen Mother Earth, and this one is a beautiful medium teal cream shade. As you can see, this one was almost opaque on the first coat. Again, I didn't quite get that full coverage going on there, but the second coat did give me all of the coverage that I need, and it's another beautiful classic kind of shade. I think this is another one that I'm probably going to reach for a lot in the fall, just because I like that teal vibe for fall, you know what I mean? Next up, we have the shade Cactus What You Preach, and this is another standout color for me. I was really excited to have this sort of bright, vivid turquoise cream shade. For all of the OPIs that I have, I actually didn't have a color like this. So definitely excited to add this one to the collection. It was 2 coats for perfect coverage. It looks really gorgeous on. I love how saturated this color is. It doesn't feel like a soft muted shade. It's just very bright, bold, perfect for turquoise nail art. I just love it. Next up, we have the shade Make My Daisy, and this one is a bright yellow cream shade. And I know I keep saying this, but yellow is another color that OPI does really well. Sometimes I only need 2 coats for full coverage with their yellows, which is pretty impressive considering I consistently do 3-coaters for most yellow nail polishes I have. But because my nails were a little bit shorter when I was swatching these, I got full coverage in 2 coats. Keep in mind, yellow nail polishes almost always need 3 coats, so if you have any longer nail than I do, you'll probably need 3 coats as well. Next up we have the shade Strong as Shell, and this one, honestly, I'm still kind of struggling to decide whether this is a pure white or if this is sort of a warm off-white color. It's really hard to tell, but either way, OPI Alpine Snow is my favorite white nail polish, so I was really excited to see a Nature Strong version, and this one absolutely did not disappoint me. It was perfect coverage in 2 coats. It didn't apply like a white. It didn't feel chalky or thick. It didn't feel milky or gummy. It was just perfectly smooth, perfectly opaque. I'm definitely going to use this for nail art. And next up we've got Raindrop Expectations, and this one is another almost white color, but this one is a slightly cool undertone. It almost has a little bit of a blue tinge to it. Now honestly, I think Strong as Shell is a really good option if you want to wear a full white manicure, because like I said, there might be that kind of touch of warmth in it so it doesn't look like whiteout on your nails, but if you prefer a cooler tone version, this is a great one for you. It was almost opaque in that 2 coats. I would probably wear it as a 2-coater to be honest, but I wanted to see what it looked like with a 3rd coat on, and I do think that it gave me a little bit better opacity in that 3rd coat. This was the only one out of all 30 polishes that I felt like I needed a 3rd coat on, but I was still really impressed with it. I think it's a beautiful shade. It was a little bit milkier than Strong as Shell, but it still ended up being gorgeous on the nails. Next up we have the shade It's Actually OPI, and this one is a beautiful medium gray cream. It almost has a little bit of a greenish undertone, which is something that I have seen before from OPI grays, and I actually really like it. I think it has a little bit of a warmth to it. I like that it's a lighter color. I think this is a really great palette cleanser kind of shade to wear. It almost looks like a sage green against my skin tone. Next up we have the shade Dawn of a New Gray, which actually, contrary to its name, I would describe as more of a taupe color. It feels like it's sort of a mix between a nude and a gray. So we have this really grayed out kind of beige color going on here. It's almost a little bit brownish, and it was a really nice formula. It did give me full coverage in 2 coats, another sort of neutral palette cleanser kind of shade. Next up we have the shade Right as Rain, and this one is sort of a grayed out purple cream shade. This one was opaque in the 1st coat, but of course I am showing you guys a 2nd coat just so you see what that looks like. I know that a lot of these shades are pretty similar to each other, but don't worry, I am going to be comparing them all at the end so you can see the slight differences between them, but to nobody's surprise, this was another really impressive formula, super smooth, super self-leveling, and really opaque. Next up we have the shade Natural Mauvement, or Mauvement, depending on how you pronounce mauve/mauve. Both are correct, by the way. But yeah, I would actually not describe this one as a mauve at all. I feel like it's more of a super soft lilac pastel cream shade. It did give me perfect coverage in 2 coats, and I actually really liked it. Honestly, if this was in any other collection, I probably wouldn't love it just because I don't usually love these pastel kind of colors, but I did think it was a nice formula. And believe it or not, we are finally at our 30th shade. This color is Onyx Skies, and it is a black cream. So this one I wasn't sure what to expect because OPI's Black Onyx, which is their usual black cream, is a 1-coater for me, but it is a little bit of a thinner formula. This one was also a pretty thin formula, but it did not give me that 1-coat coverage, so I'll probably stick to using Black Onyx, but I still think that this one is nice and creamy. It's very smooth, it's very self-leveling, so it's really up to you. If you don't mind trading opacity for a more sustainable polish, then this is the one for you. Alright, so now that we've swatched all 30 of them, here is a side-by-side comparison so you can see all of the different shades together. Like I said, there are some that are similar, but when you see them side by side, you can see those different undertones going on here. But yeah, overall, I was really impressed with them. I think the majority of them were really opaque, and that is something that I absolutely love from OPI. Like I said, absolutely every single one of them was self-leveling, super easy to use. I think this is a very beginner-friendly formula, and I also like that they did a black and a white. And like I said, the black was a 2-coater for me, but the white was just so impressive. And the more I look at it, the more I do think it has a little bit of that off-white beigey kind of color going on in there. So I think this is definitely gonna be something that I use potentially as often as Alpine Snow, which I use a lot. So yeah, big thumbs up from me. So those are the polishes, and I have to say my overall thoughts on them is they do feel exactly like the formula that I'm used to from OPI. I've talked about it before, but OPI is actually my favorite formula for polishes. I have this tower that everything below the first shelf is OPI, and then the top shelf is just where I keep whatever I'm reviewing. But I absolutely love their formula, and I was hoping that it wouldn't be a more difficult formula. I was very pleasantly surprised to see that it honestly felt exactly the same for me. The colors themselves are honestly gorgeous. I think they did a really good job, curating these specific colors together for their first release. I'm curious to see if they do a Nature Strong line of their upcoming collections, the way that they do like a regular and infinite shine and a gel version of their collections. So I think that's going to be definitely interesting to keep an eye on. But yeah, like I said in the beginning, I'm just really excited to see brands moving towards being more sustainable and environmentally friendly. I know that nail polish isn't the most environmentally friendly hobby. There's definitely a lot to it that's not great for the world. So I'm really happy to see that there are these companies that are kind of taking an effort to make it a little bit better. So I definitely really appreciate that. I will say one thing that I did not notice about this line is whether it is cruelty-free or not. I know that the original OPI brand is not cruelty-free. I didn't see any messaging or language on this new line saying otherwise. So just keep that in mind if you are cruelty-free in terms of nail polish brands. Like I said, these polishes come in these 20% post-consumer recycled bottles. They have a little white cap on it so you can tell that it is the Nature Strong line. They are still the regular 15 milliliter bottles, and the price actually varies based on where you get it. On the Ulta website, they are retailing for $11.50 USD each, but HP Beauty Bar is carrying them for $9 USD each, and you can also use my discount code KELLI to get 22% off your order there. So I'll link both down below so you can check that out. But yeah, like I said, overall really excited about these, excited to see where they take the Nature Strong brand, and I would love to hear what you guys think. What do you think of the new Nature Strong line? Are you a fan of it? Are you planning on giving it a shot? What would you like to see from them? Do you want to see them doing their regular collections in a Nature Strong version, or are you interested in seeing different colors from them in Nature Strong version? I'm curious to know your thoughts, so let me know in the comments. We can chat about it. If you enjoy my swatch and review videos, please give this one a thumbs up. It lets me know I'm doing a good job. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing. I put out new videos every Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday. Huge shout out to my Cosmic Admirals on Patreon, Amanda M, Braxton Scott, Rainbow J, and Jessica Taylor. I really appreciate your support, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye. Fun fact, while I'm looking up fun fact questions to answer, these swatches took me like 6 hours to do. That was so many polishes, but it was totally worth it. They're really pretty. Today's fun fact question comes from Patreon supporter Marissa Badger, and Marissa wants to know, what is your favorite musical genre? So it's funny because if you had asked me this before 2020, I would have a very different answer. I used to exclusively listen to EDM and hip hop. I feel like those were my genres. But ever since, everything happened in 2020 and I've been home and stuff, I've been really listening to a lot of like, I don't even know how to describe it. I guess just like sad indie music. I don't know, like soft pop and like sad indie music. That's the only way I can describe it. I don't know. I still listen to like the hip hop and EDM music that I love, but yeah, I feel like my taste in music has definitely changed. I listen to a lot more of that kind of music. I don't know why, but I really love listening to sad songs. Like I just find them so much more powerful than happy songs, which is funny. I always want to like quote song lyrics on like Twitter or Instagram and stuff, but I in general am a happy person, and I'm like in a happy relationship and stuff, and I always worry that if I do that, people are going to be like, ooh, this is a sign. So I don't do that, but just know that I'm enjoying sad music lately. It's just, I feel like it's almost soothing in a way. Does that make sense? I don't know. But yeah, I guess my genre of music is varied now. All right, that's it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.